we used to write down on the ground. You write numbers. I don't know if you did it. I don't know if your children do it. You know, some of us did part of our education under trees, and sometimes you could just go to the dust and then you try to write some numbers. That was technology. You know, these small, wooden things that children use and they write on them. You see, they seem to be very traditional. But think about technology. We have seen God writing on stones and then giving 10 commandments. How many years back? How many years is this history? I mean, so many thousands of years back. And we are still reading this very scripture today. And we hold it as a very great scripture because these are 10 commandments that we still talk about today after so many thousands of years. What do I want to say here? I want to say that you cannot avoid technology. It is because of technology that, it is through technology actually that God created us. It is through technology. It is through technology that God gives us instructions. I don't know if some of you have ever done handwork. We did handwork in school. And you can go and, be creative and make something out of, maybe banana fibers. Maybe you go and get a tree and shape something from that tree and design something and you take it to school. That was technology. It is through technology that we are able to be creative thinkers. It is not through theory that we read in books. It is through the works of our hands. How do we touch the creation and design something good from it? Now, when you talk of education technology, we need first of all to know how within the environment of our school, how are we able to look around and be creative and make something from the environment? There is a lot of knowledge. We have so many resources around us. How are we using those resources in our environment, in our schools, to make something, to learn from them? And then, when we talk of education technology, we are saying, how do we share this knowledge? How do we use the resources we have to increase our knowledge and understanding and our competences in the school system, in our curriculum? I think this is the time to change our thinking, to shift our mindset and begin thinking of how we can use different resources we have. There is, beginning from early 1990s, schools are no longer using traditional ways of teaching. Now, I have another question here, which I'm asking myself. What are some of the technology resources do you have in your school? I think you need to think about this. There are some schools that don't have teachers of technology. I think it is high time that you got one. Because COVID-19 has taught us that it may be very difficult for us at some point of time really to continue educating children. Have you any plan of training technology teachers in your school? Of course, if you don't have one, the first thing is to get one. And if you do, then do you have any plan to train? Because it is not only that somebody knows Word and Excel. Somebody knows PowerPoint. Oh, this is Microsoft, Office and those applications that you have. But you need also to know how you can use technology, to create different teaching materials. How many hours of technology do you have on your school timetable? Maybe some schools don't have. It becomes very difficult for you to continue educating children in this time. What initiatives are you putting in place to ensure technology is integrated in your school curriculum? You need to think about this. And also think about integrating these initiatives into your school budget, your annual budget. Because if you don't put it there, it won't be done because you need money to do that. I just want to close by, highlighting some, there are some good researchers who have mentioned important statements that I want to share with you this morning. Jacobs Hayes says that teachers need to integrate technology seamlessly into the curriculum instead of viewing it as an add-on, an afterthought, or an event. It is very important to integrate technology, not just something that that comes after other things have been done. It shouldn't be an event, just like we are having this event today. It should be integrated in the subjects you teach. If you are teaching mathematics and you are doing some modeling, that is technology. Now think about those who are using pieces of chalk, to teach. That is technology. You know how you paint your chalkboards, you see? But in addition to those traditional ways and methods, what else are you thinking about as technology to help you improve on the quality of education? John Dewey says, if we teach today as we taught yesterday, this is very important. If we teach today as we taught yesterday, we rob our children of tomorrow. If you continue to teach today as you taught yesterday, you are actually cheating your children, the children you are teaching of tomorrow. And then Major Owens says, education technology and school construction go together. I know some of you are investing a lot of money in constructing additional classrooms so that you get more students in your school. But here, Owen says that education technology, when you are thinking about adding another classroom, also think about education technology. He says that modernization, updating education facilities, and making a capital investment in education are all included. They are all part of, the school system. You need really to invest in education technology. Thank you so much for attending this conference. I hope that you will take time, hear from different speakers, and also begin to internalize what you want to do. As you hear from speakers, what is it that you are going to change in your school? And when you get back, what did you start with? And how do you continue the process of integrating education technology into your curriculum? I think you need to think about how you are going to equip your teachers, how you are going to have them trained so that they can be effective resources for education technology in your school. I think you are aware that children, even when we are under lockdown, they still want to see their teachers. They still want to hear their teachers. And sometimes it is very difficult. It is impossible if you cannot use technology. So I want to stop here and declare the conference open, hoping that from this conference, you will learn a lot that you will take back to your school. God bless you.
Thank you, Calist. We are now going to have a short tea break. The tea break is at the back here. There will be people who will assist you. And that's going to be for 30 minutes. And then we'll have a presentation coming up. We'll have some presentations from Andy, who is our colleague from Edify US, and Innocent about the EdTech plans for fiscal year 2022. Thank you. Yeah, please feel free to just go and get some tea break.
Let's pray for the snack. Tata turagushimiye kubw'ineza yawe n'ubuntu bwawe, turasengera ifungo tugiye gufata ritugwe neza mu izina rya Yesu urakoze. Amen.
Has everyone had something to eat? Are you on the table? Are you okay? Okay. We're going to start again. If there's still members outside, please invite them to come back. We're going to go on. So for the next session, we are going to be looking at presentations. The first one is going to be from Andy Johnson, who is an Edify staff member from the USA. And he works with Innocent in the Education Technology Department. He's going to be sharing some of his insights with us. So I hope the video is ready. Yes, please watch the video on the screen. Thank you.
Hi, this is Andy Johnson, Technology Innovation Manager at Edify. Good morning to you in Rwanda. Thankful to be part of this conference and grateful to the Rwanda team for inviting me to take part. So I wanted to share a few words with you today that I've titled Counting the Cost, 5 Priorities for School Leaders in the Digital Age. And this title comes to us from Scripture in Luke 14, starting in verse 28. Jesus said, "And whoever does not carry their cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? For if you lay the foundation and are not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule you, saying, 'This person began to build and wasn't able to finish.'" One of the challenges that we see in global EdTech implementation is a lack of fully counting the cost when it comes to what it takes to truly transform learning experiences through the use of technology in the classroom. And so one of the priorities that we have when working with school leaders is really thinking carefully about what it takes in helping us to be fully equipped to actually create sustainable access to education technology and to build plans for the long term that allow us to make a real impact in the lives of our students and teachers. And so today I want to talk about 5 questions that we can ask to help equip our schools for the digital age, to help us think really carefully about what it's like to count the cost and be ready for what it really takes to use education technology effectively. So 5 questions. The first one is a question of strategy. And the question is, have you defined a strategy for sustainable access and the effective use of EdTech at your school? We don't want to move into EdTech usage without thinking carefully about our strategy. What is it that we're trying to do? What are we trying to accomplish long term? And what's the experience supposed to look like for our students, for our teachers, for the leaders of our school? How are we going to sustain access to the technology once we've started? Do we have a plan for how to use the technology well once it's implemented in our schools? These are the kinds of things that we like to consult and think about and offer trainings around, because strategic thinking up front is one of the most critical ways to make sure that we are really, truly starting down a path that can make a difference for students. And so the first question is a question of strategy. The second question is a question of access, and that is, do you have the devices, software, and network access that teachers and students need to integrate EdTech into learning at your school? Now, we know that we need devices, but we often think only about the cost of the initial purchase instead of thinking longer term about what it's going to take to maintain the equipment over time. How do we make sure that it continues to work well and that it's available to students while they're learning? How are we going to replace equipment as it needs replacement or repair along the way? Are we going to be equipped for updating the equipment when the time comes and installing new technology in our schools to be to create a continuous path for technology-based learning in our schools? So we often refer to this as the cost of ownership instead of just the cost of purchase, thinking about the longer term plan for having devices, attaining them, whether it's through loans, whether it's through savings, and being able to take care of them over the long term with strategic partnerships, trainers, and so forth. And so the question of devices is an important one here, but also it's a question of software. What kind of software will we use? Do we have the software that we need for our teachers to offer instruction? Is there software available and content for students to actually engage with on the devices? We know that when you have a device, unless there's good software, quality software there, the learning content and resources, the devices themselves don't have as much impact because the software is really how you experience the product. And so thinking about software as well as thinking about network access. And that is to say, do we need internet connectivity? Maybe sometimes internet connectivity is not readily available in our area. Then in that case, what else can we do? Can we set up local area networks that make our devices connect in more innovative ways? Can we utilize the devices students have access to at home in some cases to help improve learning and to make us effective in times where there are disruptions? What do we need to think about in terms of network access to be effective at our schools? So this is the question of access, very important one, something we must consider to really count the costs when it comes to EdTech. The third question is a question of management, and that is, how do you manage and track the effectiveness of your school's finances, enrollment, and academic performance? Are you tracking these things, and how are you doing so? Many schools are finding that software can be extremely helpful towards becoming more dedicated to this kind of tracking and to being really able to look at enrollment numbers over time, to be able to see how our finances are doing, whether or not we're collecting the fees like we need to, as well as things that we want to track like academic performance, how the various teachers are doing in our school. And so how are we going to manage this information well? How are we going to be able to access it, review it over time to make sure that we're improving? This is where a school management solution can really help. And so talk to our staff if this is something you're considering, because this is an area of growth that we really want to see our Edify schools be able to move into. So the fourth question is a matter of integration, and that is, how are teachers trained and equipped to integrate technology into classroom learning at your school? So this is where teachers and students get involved, and that is, how are the teachers in your school able to engage with technology in their individual classrooms? In some cases, schools will have a computer lab, and maybe the students engage with the technology in that lab, but what happens in the rest of their experience is devoid of the technology. So are teachers actually equipped? Do they have enough access to devices to prepare digital learning, to bring that learning into their classrooms and teach our individual math and science and English subjects with the use of technology? Part of what enables this is what we call a learning management solution, or an LMS. And learning management solutions have been a key priority for schools around the globe, especially over the last year and a half, when you consider the disruptions to education that we've been experiencing through the pandemic. And the use of a learning management solution enables teachers to begin to think about how they can incorporate the various EdTech resources that they have into the classroom learning experience for the students. And so we encourage you to think about that. You know, is it time to consider a learning management solution in your school? If you already have one, how well are the teachers equipped to use it? Or do they have enough device access to make it possible to make good use of that? One of the examples of the effectiveness of a learning management solution comes to us from Rwanda. Last year, when I was visiting Kigali, Innocent took me to a school that had just purchased laptops for its teachers and was requiring those teachers to use the laptops as part of the classroom learning. And as a result of that, when the disruption came and students had to learn from home, those teachers in that school worked with our staff to learn Google Classroom and how to prepare content and deliver it. And as a result, students were able to actually learn during lockdown. They were able to learn from home. And it was because a learning management solution was in place and because device access was in place to enable teachers to learn, develop the skill sets necessary to teach students at a distance. I'm so proud of our team and so proud of that example, and I think we really need to focus on this area of integration. How do our teachers effectively integrate technology into the classroom? What tools do they need to make that possible? And has your school fully considered that and made sure to train the teachers well on how to make that happen? So the fifth question is a question of skills, and that's, how will the students at your school engage with technology to increase employable skills for the future? We know that many of the students that we teach today are going to have opportunities in the future to work with technology. And in many cases, it'll be technology we don't even know much about right now. Technology that is going to change things even more than it already has. And so, how do we make sure that our students are learning what they need to now to be prepared for that kind of a future, where the jobs in Rwanda will require maybe different skill sets than even it required when we were starting our careers? So this can include things like making sure students have access to the technology after class, be able to use technology outside of school hours. It can include things like engaging in competitions. We have, at Edify, we often offer competitions like story writing competitions, typing competitions, and various other options, coding camps and robotics classes, all kinds of ways that students can engage and learn and have fun with technology, but also develop skills that they will need to, that will help them prepare for the future. So really encourage us to think about what are the skills that our students need and how can we help contribute to that? What can they be learning through the use of EdTech in our schools? So again, we're talking about counting the cost. What does it take to make a transformation with the use of EdTech? 5 questions to ask ourselves. Do we have a strategy? Have we really thought it through? How are we going to use the technologies well? How are we going to sustain access? Secondly, a question of access. How do we obtain devices, and what does it take to maintain them over time and to replace them when needed? Do we have a plan for implementing software and for internet or network access at our schools? And third, how do we manage our schools well? Would software help? Is there a school management solution that makes sense in our school that we should consider utilizing in the coming years? How are we tracking performance? Are we looking at ways that we can make progress at a school and improve our efforts? And fourth, Again, the question of integration. What are we doing to enable teachers to bring EdTech into our classrooms? How are we equipping them to integrate the educational experience with technology? And finally, the area of skills. What are we doing to prepare our students for the work that they will be doing in the future in and around technology? These are a couple of questions for us to think about today. I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope that you have a wonderful time at the conference. Thank you very much for your attention and for your time. And thank you for the work that you do with students. May God bless you.
We're just going to go back to the questions. And if you have a notebook, you can make note of this. I'll just read them out in case you didn't get an opportunity. The first question was on access. Sorry, if we can have the questions on the screen. As they're bringing up the questions, we are going to, there's a phone that we found. If you know that you don't have a phone, please try to call the number and then someone will get in touch with you in case you've lost your phone. Okay, so the first question was, have you defined a strategy for sustainable access and the effective use of EdTech for your school? I'll repeat that. Have you defined a strategy for sustainable access and the effective use of EdTech for your school? If we can find the second one, please. So for the question of access, do you have a strategy? Do you have a plan for having EdTech in your school, and is that plan sustainable? The second one is access. Do you have the devices, software, and network access that teachers and students need to integrate EdTech into learning at your school? I'll repeat it. Do you have the devices, software, and network access that teachers and students need to integrate EdTech into learning at your school? Shall I move on? The third one is management. How do you manage and track the effectiveness of your school's finances, enrollment, and academic performance? How do you manage and track the effectiveness of your school's finances, enrollment, and academic performance? The fourth question is on integration. How are teachers trained and equipped to integrate technology into classroom learning at your school? How are teachers trained and equipped to integrate technology into classroom learning at your school? The fifth question is on how will students at your school engage with technology to increase employable skills for the future? How will students at your school engage with technology to increase employable skills for the future? So please take some time to reflect upon these questions and see how you can implement effective use of education technology at your schools. Next up, we are going to have Innocent sharing us the plans of the Education Technology Department. and we're excited to see you. I think those schools that have computers for teachers were also waiting for you to teach them how to use Google Classroom, just as Andy was saying in the video. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. Again, good morning, all of you. May I have the presentation there? Yeah, my name's Innocent Karuranga. I work for Edify as Education Technology Integration Officer. Probably I have reached to your schools, most of you, but there are some whom whose I haven't gotten a chance to reach to your schools. So I thank God for this morning, for this time that we're having together in this annual Education Technology Conference. You know, it's good to have people coming together and think about this huge and noble theme. Yes, our theme, I want to talk about our theme. The theme for this year, we are talking about equipping teachers for sustainable education technology integration, which means equipping teachers. One of the means to reach that goal, the ultimate goal that we are all working towards, is having a sustainable education technology integration. And one of the means that we picked to be our theme this year is equipping our teachers as a way of having or reaching that goal, which is equipping teachers. I think all of you, it's not about thinking, but I know, like all of you, when our teachers are equipped, it is at least if we have our teachers equipped, we'll be having like a big percentage of reaching the goal, which is attaining or having a sustainable education, EdTech integration. I will start with this verse, my presentation. The Bible says in Proverbs chapter 19, verse 21, that many are the plans in man's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Which means everyone we all have plans in our hearts. But the Bible says it is the God's purpose that prevails. Yes, we know it is God's purpose that prevails, but again, we need to have plans. So that's why I said we think of planning is important, but as Christian schools, as leaders of those Christian schools, owners of Christian schools, yes, we, at the back of our mind, we know that it is God who enables our plans to be fulfilled. But again, we need to plan. Before reaching on the plans that we have for the next fiscal year, the plan that we have for our partner schools, I'll start with a simple graph that is in relation with the theme that we have this year. It's a survey that we did in core schools. And I have picked one question that is in line with the presentation, I mean with the theme, our theme this year. This was the question that we asked schools. The question was, how many of your teachers have their own computers or personal computers? And the result was, it is presented on this chart here. Out of 540 teachers that for all those schools, 79% said are the teachers with no computers. Do you see how it is a challenge? We are talking about equipping our teachers to have sustainable EdTech integration in our schools. And if we talk about teachers, it's a challenge. You know, having 79% of all the teachers in those core schools where we did the survey, and out of them, 79, no computers. And remember, when we are talking about teachers, these are the very people who are in implementation of any plan that we have. So that's why we thought it's good that we talk about equipping them. Yes, it is one part of when we talk about equipping teachers, it's not limited to only having devices, but again, equipping them, knowing how to use those devices. So, but this is a simple thing that we picked, which is concerning with the devices. So, and interventions that we have in different specific areas. Now here I'm talking about EdTech. Now we are planning for equipping our teachers through trainings. And these are the trainings. We have STEM teachers. STEM teachers, normally even now as I'm speaking, this week we have been, especially for those core schools, we have been having a training for ICT and set teachers, mainly on STEM. So you can say maybe we haven't reached our school, but as we get means, our plan is, and our wish and our prayer is to reach all of you. So we are planning to equip our teachers. This is a session workshops that we create for our teachers to have that practical experience. And for those practical experiences that we are having with teachers, so that's why we are planning for STEM workshops, basically focusing on STEM teachers. That is science, technology. So this time we focused on science and technology, but again we are thinking about other teachers, as I think you heard Andy mentioning about integrating technology in every subject. Also, we are talking about blended learning. When we talk about blended learning, it's how we combine, how we blend traditional way of teaching and online teaching. You know, COVID-19 has been a wake-up call for us to know how much it is significant to invest in online teaching. What do I mean here? First of all, we equip our teachers. We avail everything that is necessary for them to be effective at their work. So again, we always have, these are the trainings, and I think as we are planning, we will be informing the schools that we start with. But again, remember, we start with few schools, but our intention, as I've been saying, is to reach every school. Okay? And then we have what we call in-school trainings. These trainings, normally some of the schools have been inviting us to come in their schools to train teachers. Some here have invited us. We have trained their teachers. And our focus this time, you know, e-learning is a way to go. So this time our focus is on e-learning. But again, we are creating another way of reaching schools, meeting one-on-one with your teachers, specific teachers who are in charge of ICT. And our aim here is for them to be our focus, so that once they are well equipped, they can even train other teachers in your schools. So here, when I'm saying this, I always say that whenever you hear us coming to a school, communicating any training that we have, please, we always seek for your positive response. And this is our aim. Once our teachers who are in charge of ICT and technology in your schools are well equipped, they are confident enough to even train other teachers. That's what we are focusing on. Again, we have planning. As I think it was number one question among the questions that Andy talked about. And here we focus on our target is school leaders, like the way you are here, or school proprietors. Why do we have this? Because remember, whatever is needed, your teacher may come up with good ideas for what is needed for education technology to be integrated well. But again, without the will of the school leadership, I think you can't reach anywhere. So here we are focusing on leaders, how to plan, how can we strategically position our schools as far as integrating education technology is concerned. Also, we are talking about, we're thinking about accessibility of these devices that we have been talking about. Now here we have lending partners that we were working with. We always encourage you to reach out to them for loans to buy if you have an idea of having computers, let's say for teachers or for having a computer lab. It's good for you. We always, when we meet, we encourage you to reach out to them so that you see how you can work with them in terms of having those devices. Also, we are planning to engage private vendors. So as Edify already here is to create that occasion for schools to meet vendors, and then we see how they can work together. There's a survey that we did, and the good thing out of it, most of the schools that we participated in that survey, the response was yes, they are willing to meet those vendors that once we have them. So it's our prayer always that we are looking for those people. Why does it take long to have them? You know, when it comes to business, those people who are supplying computers, they're looking for profits. You see? So, but always you want that way of where schools can pay, but without it being a burden to them. Here I mean, if a school can be able to pay in installments, so we are looking for such kinds of people that who can work with the schools. And the reason number one here, our meeting here is for us. There's a way how you find a school. They have gotten someone who supplied computers for them. And then when you see the terms and the conditions of paying, at least is somehow is for them. So when we meet like this here, we want you to meet and discuss. Maybe you can meet someone who did it, who got a chance to meet someone who supplied the computers, and why not to help you to meet that person? So that's one of the reasons why we come together, share ideas and practices that we have been having so that we can learn from each other. Also, we are not talking about leaders or teachers only, but again, we are planning to engage the students through organizing different competitions. Like the way I said, workshops, STEM workshops for teachers. Again, here we have part of it as for students. And also we have a project for Inspiring Girls that we're having next fiscal year. Of course, we want to be able to start in all of the schools. But again, we start slowly. But again, I think at the end we'll achieve the goal that we have of inspiring girls to engage or actively involved in education, technology, or technology generally. So we always have school visits. It's a support that it's where we meet you. We learn from what you're thinking. If you need a training, it's through these school visits that we come to learn all those ideas from you, from your schools, from you leaders. And also, we are planning for peer learning. If a given school is doing well, why not taking other school leaders or having them together and learn from each other? Or if a given teacher is doing well in a given area, why not organizing clusters or in districts, and then we have other teachers to share ideas and experiences with them. And our aim here is for us all to move together. You know, technology keeps on changing. It's us to know the information and then be able to share the information. So when we come together, when we meet, it's a platform where we can share. If you have gotten something new that is helping your school, why not sharing it with other schools? So in this regard, it's our aim that this peer learning will be helping us in that way. So I thank you so much for your time. I think as we are going to have another session of talking and share ideas, and I think it will be helpful for us as we'll be taking recommendations, as we'll be picking things that we will be trying in our schools to implement them. Thank you so much. I want to welcome my brother Broad. He's going to show us how we are doing in terms of education technology. So it's good to us. Ni byiza kuri twe kugira ngo we see how we are doing, and then we know the effort that we need to put in. Broad, you're welcome.
Can we clap for him? Nasabaga ko twamukomera mu mashi. Murakoze cyane. Thank you, Innocent, for that wonderful presentation. Yes, ashimwe. Amakuru yanyu. Kubera ari technology nabonye mucecetse cyane. Yeah, my name is Broad Agava. I work for Edify. I'm in charge of impact assessment. So I'm going to show you how we are doing in terms of technology. We did a survey on 40 core schools. Let me see by show of hands schools that belong to the core program that have come here. Good. So we did a survey on the 40 core schools, and we wanted to know how all the interventions of Edify with our partner schools are doing. You may not be able to see the details, but I want to emphasize one thing. When you look at the graph here, you will see that the scores are out of 10. And we measured on each and every segment of the score. So the first one is access to quality education. The second one is Christ-like behavior. The first one was at 6.8 out of 10. The second segment is Christ-like behavior, and it is at 4.8 out of 10. And the third component that we measured across the schools was education technology. And it is at what time? It is at what level out of 10? It is at 3. Now that is a very big gap. We discovered that our schools need to improve on education technology. And actually it is the least if you are to see across the 10 focus areas. So the reason I am bringing this out is I want you to invest in education technology. The world is changing. Each and everything is changing. And we cannot remain the same. This is the average performance of the 40 schools. Some of your schools may be up to 5 out of 10, but this is average performance. So what did we discover? These were my observations. We discovered that most of our partner schools don't have education technology devices. You don't have computers, and yet you are teaching technology. You don't have either desktops or laptops. I had somebody laugh. You don't have computers completely. And yet you are teaching, you say you are teaching technology. Yes, technology is not limited to computers, but at least for schools, you need a computer lab. And for Edify to count you to have a computer lab, at least you need a computer room of 20 working computers. Another thing we are looking at is internet. I did this survey personally. We are not providing internet services, in order to improve research and learning in our schools. So those are areas that we need to improve. When we are seeing the ratio of students to computers, it was very poor. Most of the schools are telling us we have 5 computers and you have 500 kids and 20 teachers. So please, I am encouraging you to work in this area, because the way we approach teaching and learning should be different. We also discovered that most of our teachers don't have the necessary skills to use tech to improve learning. So Edify provides skill training. Innocent can do that. In case you want a training for your teachers, basic skills, even some complicated skills, we can plan for that. And one of the things that we discovered most schools don't have is what they call the Education Technology Integration Plan. So almost all schools didn't have the plans. How are you going to integrate technology into the whole life system of a school? So we didn't see that, and that actually scored so poorly. And the last one is, students cannot use technology independently. Technology is not for the sake of technology, but are you able to produce something using technology? The outcome of use of technology. So we discovered that is also lacking. So I wanted to show you this so that you see the gaps that you have, and when you go back, you'll be able to plan accordingly. Thank you very much. I'm going to call upon Innocent to play the videos, and then we will run from there.
Okay, we are going to watch a video, and then after this video, it's a video for school leaders and proprietors, their views on our theme for this year. And after the video, we are going to have a panel discussion. Thank you so much. ihangane ibintu by'ikoranabuhanga uko biteguye.
To me, equipping teachers, it's like preparing them in all the sides, or in the spheres of education in terms of technology, more mentally, having the good attitude towards the technology, seeing the advantage of the technology. That's whereby you keep equipping them in mind.
When we equip our teachers well with EdTech materials and items to use when teaching, this will bring in a great performance by our children. We are lucky we have Edify Rwanda, which ministry has come in to train our teachers about education technology. This has helped so much our teachers.
And training, not only that, but you equip teachers by giving them the best tools, the tools required to do what they're supposed to do.
Here at the school, to equip teachers, we have a computer lab where we have some laptops and network connection, and when they are there, they make research to prepare even their lesson, and any subject can be even used or taught using ICT.
We have challenges. We don't have enough machines. This is the first challenge. We also would like to have a powerful internet that all teachers can use wherever they be. Today the administration, we have it, but not all the entire staff can use.
Another second thing, a challenge, which is bigger, is the level of our parents of understanding things. Some of the parents, we appreciate that we are living in a third world country. They are not as trained as we might want them. And therefore, if they are not, they don't know very much how to help their learners. They don't know the importance even of this IT thing you are telling them. They think when you tell them to buy a computer, you are giving them an extra burden on top of the school fees. And yet you tell this parent this is the way to go. Your child will be better off. Said, we studied without computers, didn't we study? So you find that this is still a challenge.
The plan we have, one, just to hire someone who is professional and skilled in maintaining those tools, because they are very expensive. You cannot keep expensive tools without regular maintenance. Other plans, we have trainings, as I have said. Also, we are planning to add more tools.
The message I can give to my fellow school owners is that things have changed. The world has totally changed. COVID-19 has brought new changes into our schools. The best way is to go soft. The best way is to go for education technology, because we don't know when COVID-19 is going, but even when it goes, soft work, education technology should stay, because it is really the way to go.
Okay, we are going to have a panel of discussion. Agaba is the moderator. You're welcome, Agaba.
Thank you. Let me request everybody to stand. Yeah, you can stretch a little bit. You have been seated for some time. And maybe one person can give us an icebreaker. Comrade, who wants to give us one? If you don't volunteer, I'll pick one of you. Let me see my friends here. Nobody wants to give us one. Just any. Okay, David. Where is David? Hey, okay, there he is. Just clap for David, Kingdom Gate. I've caught you unaware, but I know after learning about technology, you're going to work in a technological way. Just one icebreaker to keep us in shape, then we will be able to move. Yari ashizemu technology. Mumukomere mumashire. Okay, so we are going to have a panel discussions, and we have distinguished panelists that are going to talk about technology. First and foremost, please put your hands together for the first panelist in the names of Mr. Kalist Kaigamba, the country director of Edify Rwanda. Welcome, sir. You can take this seat. We have another distinguished guest. She is deep in tech. She lectures technology. She started tech initiatives. Please, let's welcome Jennifer Watamudis. Jennifer is the CEO and founder of Ra Tech Hub. She also teaches technology at a university. Probably she taught you. Who knows? We have another panelist in the names. Before I say the name, he's in charge of education technology at Edify Rwanda, and is the one who helped organize this event. So please welcome Mr. Innocent. Ariko ari abantu batakomye mu mashi kandi ndimo ndababona. Thank you. Also welcome the moderator. Okay, so I hope you are expectant to hear what they will say, and I would request if we have mics, please, you could give them the microphones. We are going to discuss technology. And I believe the discussion is going to be good, and you're also going to be part of the whole discussion, so don't worry. I'll give the first question to Vatamuris. If I would shorten it, I would call it BAT in a technical way. Yes. This one goes to you. Why do we need to equip teachers when we want to build sustainable education technology in schools? Why teachers?
Okay, thank you so much. So we need to equip teachers because the teachers are the first people who put technology into use. Because if you equip teachers, they are the ones who will pass that knowledge to the students. So you understand that there is a big need of first equipping the teachers, and teachers will also pass that knowledge to students.
Teachers will also pass that knowledge to students. Let me throw that question again to our country director, because I believe equipping teachers is very important if we want to improve tech in our schools.
Thank you very much for the question. Now, why do we need to equip teachers? You know, education is almost, in school, education in school is almost impossible without teachers. Starting from other traditional courses, you have teachers of mathematics, you have teachers of languages, you have teachers of science, But now we are here talking about teachers of technology. So if we have equipped teachers of mathematics, we have equipped teachers of languages, we have equipped teachers of science, why not equip teachers of technology? So I think the answer is simple. But we cannot answer it before we know what is it that these teachers of technology need. So as school leaders present here, first of all, you need to identify what is it that they need. And then the second step would be to equip them, have those resources, and then evaluate them if they are using them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And again, we are going to still on teachers. I would love to hear the view of the man in the house, the EdTech man. Why teachers? Why not cooks or people that work in the compound? Because they all make schools, isn't it? Yes, Innocent.
You know, when we are talking about teachers, any change that we want in our schools, these are the best agents that can bring about that change that we want. Talking about equipping them, so we need, first of all, to equip them in all areas. Now, this time you're talking about technology, so we need to keep them as far as technology is concerned. There's something Kais mentioned that is good. Before thinking about equipping them, again, you need to identify what do they need. And I think part of what they need, to me, one, remember as schools, when we grew up, the subject was mathematics. And most of us, we ended up joining. By then it was options, math, physical, math and physics. Because whoever that you think is smart, you need to go for math, physics, those science subjects. But again, even today, you find us being trapped in that way of thinking about other subjects, not thinking about technology. But again, remember, if you are thinking about technology, it is not limited only ICT, but it is a way of equipping our teachers for them to even teach other subjects. So when we are talking about integration, technology integration, it's not for ICT only, but again, if you're a math teacher, science teacher, the teacher needs to be equipped so that he or she will be able now to identify new ways of teaching, having better approaches for his or her students to understand. So to me, equipping teachers is important because they're the ones who are going to implement any change that we want in our schools. And now this time, as far as technology is concerned, we need to equip them. So it's a technology that can allow us to learn when we are at our homes, to learn wherever we are. Teachers need to be equipped as far as technology is concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Innocent. And he's talking about we need to keep equipping. And I am picking that word we. Who should equip these teachers? Who should it start with? I see one of the headmasters of one school I want to mention is looking at me. So, and who should it begin with? Who should equip these teachers? And I will pick it from Jennifer to clearly really, if you want to change the way we consume technology, who should it begin with at a school setting?
Okay, so first of all, at our schools, we have people who are in charge of information technology, as far as I know. Maybe not all schools, but this is what should be in all those schools. They should have information technology officers or teachers. They are the first people who should equip the teachers with technology skills, and not only the IT officers. So it all starts with the teachers themselves. So first thing I should say is that, first of all, we need to change our mindset. We need to be positive about changes, and we should be ready to change, because technology needs someone who is very flexible to change with all coming technologies. So the information technology teachers, the teacher themselves can equip themselves. Maybe you might ask yourself, how can I equip myself? So I know many people nowadays, they are using telephones to surf on internet. They check their emails, they use WhatsApps, but people don't know that internet has all the resources that we need. Internet has all the resources that we need. We can use all those resources, not only checking on WhatsApp or on our emails. We can also go to YouTube, we can go to Google, we search for everything is there. So teachers themselves, they can equip themselves, they can be equipped by the IT officers, as I mentioned. They can also be equipped by their friends. Why not? Because in the school compound, I don't think only IT officers are the only people who know IT. I know some teachers know IT. So they can also teach their friends. So that's what I can say. And then afterwards, that's when we should think of people beyond our schools, like maybe Ministry of Education through REB. They also give the resources, and also organizations such as Edify. Yes.
Thank you, Tamariza. I hope you were clapping for her. Please do. I'm looking at a school setting. I'm looking at the school being in the mind of the one who wants to prepare to that school. And I'm throwing this question to Calist. Who should plan the equipping of these teachers first and foremost? Where should it begin with?
Thank you. I think if it is about planning, of course, I would first of all, support the ideas that my colleagues have said. It first starts with you as a teacher. Because, teachers, some people believe that teachers are born. Others believe that teachers are made. So, what does it mean by, being a teacher being made? Being made means you are trained. You have resources. Somebody who is training you is making you. Somebody who provides resources is making you to be a very good IT teacher. But again, there is this component of a teacher being born. You see, you may have all the resources. You may have all the training and all the skills that you need. But if you don't have passion, if you don't love that profession, if you don't love IT, it would be wastage of resources. So that's why I agree with Jennifer that it starts with you. If you love IT, if you love technology, it even becomes easy for you to discover what you don't know, to find out, to search, and know more. And then, with the teaching, if you don't love it, you may not really teach others to know what you know, and encourage them to know more. So that's why I said you need to have that passion, first of all, of technology, and secondly, the passion for teaching others. You know, there are some good people who know good technology. I mean, who are engineers. But transferring that knowledge that you have to others becomes difficult because you don't have that passion. So, now, the planning begins with, of course, you as a teacher of technology, because you need to know what you want to give to others, what you want to train, what you want to teach to others. You need to know where to get it. You need to do research and then be able to transfer the knowledge. But again, also in the school setting, a school leader is very important. Because if you need, for example, a computer, you need different, equipment to use in the school, then it should be the leader of the school, the head teacher, or even the school proprietor to plan that in the school budget. So the planning component is on the side of the leader, but of course you also support them because you know what, maybe they don't know what you want, so you can provide information. Thank you.
Thank you, Calist. I encourage the audience, please. There will be a question and answer session. So keep writing some of those questions. We will be having some time to answer them. I'm throwing this to Innocent. Yes, you are equipping teachers, and the teacher needs to plan, the leaders need to plan for technology. Which tools or what tools are needed for EdTech to be integrated where in our schools? We are looking about tools. You know, teachers need tools. What tools do they need?
Thank you so much. There's a short comment that I wanted to make on the previous question that you asked. That was about who should it start with. Yes, I agree with Calista and Jennifer. When we are talking about teachers, it all starts with passion. As a teacher, probably most of you have been teaching or you taught. So passion should be number one. Yes, some people may start with leadership will, or I can say political will. But again, I have seen where school leaders creating environment for the teachers, but again, without the passion of the teacher, it's hard to use the environment created or to use properly the tools that are available. So why passion for teachers? Because if teachers are well in terms of technology, they are confident enough to express what they need. You know, leaders or school owners, normally you think about the means that are in place for whatever you want to do. But again, if these teachers are confident enough, they are able to stand and express what they need. So imagine maybe you may fail to get it this year, but again, as the teachers keep on insisting on what they need for them to be effective, at the end of the day, the school leadership will end up having those requirements that the teacher is asking. That's why it is good that we, for first, number one thing that we should talk about is the passion of the teacher. And again, once the teacher is passionate about what he or she is doing, he is able to express what he or she needs, and then there comes leadership will, where they are going to avail whatever requirement the teacher has asked. Now, coming to the necessary tools that we want our teachers to have. Number one, once the teacher is trained intellectually, the teacher needs to be trained first of all, because you can avail those tools, but again, without the teacher having the knowledge to use them properly, I think it seems like no work done. So when it comes to technology, number one, the tools, concerning tools, accessibility to tech devices. When I'm talking about tech devices here, I mean computers, tablets, any tool that you think that can be used. Projectors. You know, there's when you may be having one computer in a school, but again, because teachers are passionate, with that one projector and one computer, teachers can go there, search for videos, prepare video presentation to kids. And then, before you even have many computers, but the little you have, they're able to do them. Number one, I talk about computers or devices, maybe tablets and phones. Also, I talk about projectors. But again, there comes another part, which is soft part of it. Necessary applications and how to use them. But you can't leave behind internet connectivity, which is the key that will help teachers to search, to do research, actually to improve themselves to stand and then be able to deliver what they want to deliver. Thank you, Brod.
Thank you. I picked two things. You talked about training and the tools, and I'm going to throw this question to Jennifer. What comes first? Trainings or tools, or they all need to be done concurrently?
Okay, so for me, I can say that they both go together. First of all, you need to have the tool and also have trainings so that you can have skills and knowledge to use the tools. So that's why I'm saying that they all come together. You need the tools and you need to be trained so that you can have skills and knowledge to use those tools. But one more thing I can say is that, you know, when you have the tools, it's easy to learn even before no one gives you the skills and knowledge. So I can give an example of our kids at home. You see our kids, some of them, no one taught them how to use those tools. But just leave your phone there. You'll see that a three-year-old child takes the phone or the laptop, they enter the password, they start using your laptop. Let me just give a simple example, something that happened to me. I didn't know my kid knows how to, I didn't know she knows my password. Believe me, she's 3 years old, but she took my laptop, she entered the password, and I found her opening YouTube, and she doesn't know how to read. And she started watching those games for the kids. Is that not technology? That's technology. So if you have tools, I'm sure you can also teach yourself, and that's if you have that passion. But if you're not passionate about things, you will get the tools, you will get those laptops, you just keep them, you say, I'm waiting for someone to teach me how to use it. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Well answered, really. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm going to ask one more question of interest on this topic, the role of a CPD, continuous professional development, in trying to foster the use of technology. And I'm giving that to a country director.
Thank you, Brod. Now, I will just speak it from what Jennifer has just mentioned. You know, in economics, they say that satisfaction of one want creates another. When you satisfy one thing, then there is a creation of another want. So, tools, you have the tools. Then you learn how to use them. But as you learn how to use them, you develop another need of knowing more and getting more tools. And as you get more tools, you also learn more. So you keep on learning. So that is continuous professional development. You know, teachers, not only teachers, you know, we always keep on learning. We stop learning when we die. So we are always training ourselves. We are always being trained. We are learning from different sources of knowledge. And if you are a teacher, I mean, you should be the best candidate for learning. Because you cannot give what you don't have. And you should always have that need of getting more knowledge, of getting more skills. So I think the school leaders present here, I know some of you have the plans. You do budget for continuous professional development for your staff. And if you have not been doing it, then it is time that you begin doing it, especially for education technology, because these are people who are going to make things simpler. Even the rest of other subjects, teaching them will be a bit more simpler. You have heard about smart classrooms. I don't know how many of you have them. So smart classrooms, this is about technology. How do you make your teaching smart? So we all continue to learn, we continue to train, but let us have that plan for continuous professional development for teachers and teachers of technology in particular. Let's continue to learn and to train ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm looking at the headmasters and the school leaders in the audience. And I'm also going to ask this to Bwana Innocent. Do you think school leaders and owners are doing enough to equip the teachers in integrating education technology? If you feel like you don't want to look them straight into the eye, you can look at me but answer correctly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, bro. To be fair, there is a journey to walk. So we have been talking about who should this start with in terms of equipping teachers. But coming to this question that you're asking, professional development, I think number one, people to see are the school leaders or school leadership. Because you may be having skilled people in your school, but again, you need to create that environment to make it a culture. So to me, I think we need to do more as schools. So we have different things that we are making priorities, but again, this time it has to be, technology has to be among the priorities that we are having. But I can say now it's below average when it comes to school leaders making this a priority. Thank you.
Thank you, Innocent. And I see teachers, some of the teachers I can hear, they are silent vibration saying, talk more about that. We give in our requests in regards to technology, but when the leadership reaches to budgeting, they cut them off. And I don't want to mention names, but when should parents come in? What is the role of parents again on making sure that the school is equipped when it comes to technology? Jennifer.
Thank you, Brod. So the role of parents is that parents should also help schools. So I understand if school leaders or school owners could put more effort, then this technology we are talking about will be reached. But then, they also need support from the parents, because the child is at school. Yes, at school, maybe they'll get that computer, they will get that internet, they will see all technology devices. But again, when they go home, they also need to find devices. So this one goes to parents. You find some parents, they have money, they can spend money on different things, even spending on the child things that they really, I can say, things that are not primary needs. So why don't the parents also think about getting those technology devices such as tablets or having this desktops at home so that the kids can also learn from home? Another thing is with the COVID-19 pandemic, we just saw that education needs to continue just from anywhere you are, whether at home, at school, or wherever. So you can imagine we were on total lockdown. Students were not going to school. Then, if the students don't have, if your child don't have laptop, they don't have those devices, and schools say, now we are going to have online classes, what will happen? So your child will remain behind. So the parents need to help schools by also providing the needed resources. And parents also need to help their children, because most of the parents, they have the skills. And they've also learned with this COVID-19, because you can see now parents talking of Zoom meeting. Zoom meeting, that's technology. But before this pandemic, many people didn't know about Zoom, believe me. But now with this pandemic, the parents, they know about the Zoom. They know that we have to work on Zoom, we have meetings on Zoom. So why don't they also pass the knowledge they have to their kids? But also they need to be careful about what their kids are accessing. So we have different applications, and we have different ways of giving the children resources, even depending on their ages. Like, the kid is between this age and this age, they should access this. But if you just leave those computers, you just leave them at their exposure, and the children use the computers, they will watch even things they should not watch. You understand? So parents need to guide the kids. They need to know what are the kids using the technology for. Yes? So that's what I can say. So that's the parents, maybe the part of the parents in technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. Do you think that teachers are confident enough to tell their leaders what they need in regards to technology?
So for sure, I know many teachers, because I've been a teacher, not for very long, but I've been a teacher for some time. I see teachers they're not confident enough to speak about that, like speaking to their leaders, telling them that we need this and this. So that's what I see. But for me, I think if you want something, then you have to ask for it. And if it's possible, then you will have it. So even most of the school leaders, they need ideas. They need teachers to also supplement. They need ideas from teachers. So mostly like the technology teachers, they can propose, we need computers, we need computer lab, because I understand maybe the school is not capable of providing maybe more than 60 computers. But they're the ones to propose. They say we need maybe like 50 computers, and students will be using computers in turns. So so that's what I can say. We need to be confident, and we speak up, and we let our leaders know that. And when they are planning, they will plan for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Teachers, are you confident to ask your leaders that you need some things? I'm going to invite Innocent also to give his take on that.
Thank you, Brod. I'll give two comments. One on teachers being confident. So this is where trainings come in. Because when do someone becomes confident? When you are well equipped in terms of skills, you have necessary skills that you're confident, whatever tool that is brought, you are able to use it. So our teachers need trainings for them to be confident, because someone will keep on avoiding things if that person is not confident. And the number one for our teachers to be confident is when they are trained, they are well equipped in terms of skills as far as technology is concerned. So again, another comment that I wanted to make, you asked about the role, the parents, what is their role in this that we are talking about? You know, there are some of the parents who are there waiting for school leaders. Whatever you bring, they are ready to do it, but they are waiting for you. So I think it's us school leaders who are here, who are present, and others who will be able to watch the recording of this conference, is for us to engage parents. Identify things that you need as a school, and then you tell them, inform parents that this is what is needed for your kids to learn well.
Yeah.
Some of them, they buy just smartphones for the sake of receiving calls and going on WhatsApp. Yet, that tool should be used, again, should be used for academic purposes. Do you know that it is possible that you can be having your phone and your kid can be able to learn at home? We have different applications that are being used where you don't need a computer, just a smartphone is enough. So it's us, the schools, to keep our parents informed of what is needed as a way of engaging them, creating that environment. But again, if you're thinking about technology, think about cost sharing. Share the cost with the parents. You're thinking about buying computers. Why don't you plan, you say, next year we are starting academic year. Now, we have been paying these school fees. So because you are going to have such and such tools, let's make an increase of this. Be able to stand and explain to parents. So that's a way of sharing the cost. Don't think of the cost alone as the school, but think about engaging the parents. I know some of the parents, they are there. Some of them, they are doing businesses, they are busy. Whatever you bring in, they are ready to support.
Yeah.
But let us engage them as far as having this technology being integrated in our schools. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm requesting the audience, our dear audience, please write some questions down. We will be able to answer them. The last thing we're talking about is partnerships. What is the role of partnerships in achieving a sustainable education technology plan at our schools? Do you think schools are able to do it alone? Do they need to partner with other people, fellow schools? So begin with the country director.
Thank you, Broad. Yeah, that is a good question. Remember, your school is not an island. It cannot work without engaging some other entities. And remember, even parents are partners. So partnership is something big. Parents are your partners because they bring children to your school. Think about the vendors of computers. You need those computers and you don't produce them, so you need partnership. Think about technology companies that maybe provide trainings. Maybe you need to engage them to train your teachers. Also think about people just in the environment. Maybe there are certain things that you need to do using technology that you need to supply to the community around you. So there are so many players in the environment, in the neighborhood of the school. And the more you engage those players around your school, the more you get to know more and the more you improve on what you are doing in your school in terms of technology. Imagine if what you are doing through technology just ends with your school. Then it wouldn't be of any importance to maybe to the community. Yeah, it's also possible that you have your students are trained and they can also provide the skills to the community around the school. So in terms of partnership, partnerships are very important because you cannot do it alone. You need to work with others. You need to engage others so that you become more relevant in the community where your school is. Thank you.
Thank you, Calist. I'm looking at the CEO of EdTech Hub. I'm still talking about partnership, and that is Jennifer. How are you going to help all these schools, since you are just in front of us, to improve technology in their schools? I believe you would want to consider her as one of your partners.
Thank you so much, Brod. That's a good question. I think I'm already a partner to Edify because already I do trainings. I've trained many head teachers in Kayonza and in Nyagatare. For me, what I can give, for sure you give what you have, yes? So for me, what I can give you, I can give them skills, the skills needed. So giving you skills and knowledge in technology, I think that's the first thing that we said we need. We need skills and knowledge so that we can have that quality education. So for me, I can train because I'm already a trainer, and as I said, I'm an information technology lecturer at the university. I think I have more than wanted skills. So I teach this depending on the people I'm training. So I start with just introduction to ICT, about the office, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Access, Excel. But I also train the girls. That's one thing that EdTech Hub does. I train, me and my team, we train girls even how to code. We teach them even Scratch programming. You know, in your schools you're using Scratch programming, and it's very good for the kids because the kids can, the kids get really bored when they just study. They have notes, and they also need things that will help them to understand the knowledge that you're passing. Don't think that the only knowledge you have to pass to them is just talking, mathematics, and what. We need the kids to have that problem-solving skills. And technology is the first thing that they use. Even by showing the kids animation, video related to what you're teaching, pictures, helps them understand, because we know that pictures speak 1,000 words. So I can forget what you told me, but I will not forget what you showed me. So what I saw, that picture. So I teach them Scratch programming, and that's even Reb has that already, teaching Scratch programming to the kids. I teach the girls how to code. I teach them about cybersecurity and all that. But the first knowledge you need is just introduction to ICT. And that one will guide you to all that, even coding, and many other things in IT. So first thing I do is training the girls for sure, training them how to code and let them master these technology skills. That's what I can offer. And then for the point that you are asking about the partners, for sure I also say what country director said. Number one partner is the parent. Number one partner is the parent. Think of parents. So if you just put it there, you say, we need computers for the school. I know parents want their kids to learn technology. And they know that schools are not able to provide all that. So they will help the school have that, those computers. You just need to know how to approach them. And you show them how it's going to be useful to them. And then they will help in that. Thank you.
Thank you. I thought we have some schools who teach girls and you would have clapped for her. Unless you don't teach girls. So she talked about girls in tech, and I thought that was very important. Anna Innocent, are you going to give them computers or show them where to buy them? Or both?
I think number one, let me talk on behalf of Edify. So there's a way how Edify works with the schools. So there's something I mentioned about in my presentation of engaging these private vendors of computers. So our role as Edify is to look for those people, look for the specifications. You know, if a school needs a computer, at least you need a computer that will come and work for you what you intended it to do for you. So it's our role as Edify, at least to highlight those specifications, minimum that once a computer or a device has them, is able to function. And again, create that occasion for them to meet. Having meetings, like take an example, schools in Kigali or any district, you bring together schools, you bring those people, they make presentations, and then they will be able to connect. But again, there is another intervention that we have as Edify, which is working with lending partners. So it's another way that we encourage schools to reach out to them, negotiate on the terms of how they can help in terms of accessing those devices. So, but again, remember, this is my comment that I wanted to make in addition to what I have been saying. You know, there are things there which are free. But again, it comes to our staff, our teachers, being confident to use the available resources. There are things that don't need, what you need is on the internet. The applications that schools have been using, you don't need to, once you have that internet, because some schools have internet, but because your teachers are confident, they are going to be able to use, to search and be able to exploit those online open source applications that are there for free. So which means once you need, first of all, before you come to the partnership with other organizations, number one, let the teachers be able to use what is there. Self-learning, they're able now to teach themselves and then be able to use what is there for free. Again, engage parents, but also engage other organizations. Like as we talk of now as Edify, when we reach out to our tech hub, people like Jennifer, there's a project that we are working with her that in the future, next year, we'll be reaching out to schools, working with girls in terms of inspiring them. Yes, we are talking about technology and integration, but again, remember, we need security and safety. There is cyberbullying. Remember, our kids are exposed to such things sometimes we don't have control of, which means we need to equip them to show them the disadvantages and the advantages of them and how to use them, so that whenever we are going to them, they will be for good use. So, and I think if Edify and other organizations do that, it's not that Jennifer is coming to teach stuff at Edify, but we reach out to such people to work with them to help schools. So that is in a broad way how we can, I think we can engage other partners so that we can attain the goal that we all have as schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Hari indirimbo ivuga ngo niba uri muri Yesu neza, niba uri muri Edify neza rero, ugume mu byiza ndabibona imbere aho ngaho. Ariko kanizere ko ayo mashi yaraye Imana atari Edify. Okay, so I'm going to take it back to the audience. I hope you are writing questions. I'm going to invite a few questions, but I want them written down. So write your question, and we'll have a team of Edify staff behind there. When you finished writing the question, please, you can raise your hand. Somebody will pick it, either Jackie, Confidence, or Yvonne. And we have around 2 minutes to do that. Jennifer has something to add, but I will still ask you a question. Are you buying these people computers for free, or you want to say something else?
No, I think I'm not able to buy them computers, but they usually say that I don't know how to say the proverb, but let me just say it in my own words. Don't give fish to someone, but you have to teach them how to do what?
To fish.
How to fish, yes? So at times we are there, but we don't know that there is ways we can get resources, but we are just negative. We say we don't have it, let's just sit. We don't have it. And you have ways of getting it. As Innocent said, many organizations out here, I know of some, they provide laptops to schools teach to the teachers in schools. They give laptops, but you need to reach them because they won't know that there is a need for those computers. So you need to reach some organizations, whether local or international organizations. Just reach them, knock the door. I know they will hear you. Maybe they will give you or they won't, but at least you've said what you want. Yes? Yeah. You can say we need computers to empower our children, and we really need your support. I know they will do that. Reach out to different organizations. We also have those organizations, as he said. I knew of one. I think it's no longer working. So they used to give those computers to teachers, and then they can pay in installments. They can pay later in installments. Yeah, so those are some of the ways you can get the computers. And again, we talked of parents. They can help in buying the computers for the schools. Parents, you have more than maybe 200 parents or more than 100 parents. Even if a parent gives 10,000, believe me, you will have some desktops at school, and it's for their own good. It's for their own good because you're teaching their children. Another thing I was saying about those girls, teaching the girls, we don't leave behind boys. Everyone needs to go to know technology. But at times you find that our girls, they have no confidence at all. They say these things are for men. So what we are doing is just bridging that gender digital gap. So just bridging the gap, but not saying that we are giving opportunities to this and we leave this. It's because we know that already they are confident, they already have that confidence. So we just need to empower the girls so that they can be on the same level. So how do we empower them? We give them those hands-on skills, and we also tell them. At times people don't need even that knowledge of knowing how to do things practically. They even need people to empower them. Tell them you're able. You tell them you're able to do it. If I've done it, why not you? Because I was also born like you. So if I can do it, why not you? Those girls, they need just people to empower them. You tell them that they are able. So usually I speak of technology more because I did technology in undergraduate, I did masters in IT, and I finished PhD in IT. So I'm speaking, I'm saying things which are able, things, are possible, practical, things which are practical. Yes, so that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. And you speak technology. Do you dream in technology also?
I also dream in technology.
Okay, good. So, questions. I am reserving the last question because I know it will come out of the question that we'll ask. We are going to the question and answer session. Any questions? Somebody has written the question? Okay, so, but before we welcome her, I want to recognize the presence of Wana Katoi. You can stand, and the reason I'm picking him up, please clap for him. The reason I'm picking him up is he's, first of all, a brilliant man. And he got a loan somewhere and he invested heavily in technology. So that one we appreciate. Is that solid foundation, Judith? So please ask your question. If you have not written, you can ask your question. You have one chance per table. And please direct it where you want it to be. Thank you.
Thank you. My question goes to Madam Jennifer. Why only girls and not boys? The second one still goes to Jennifer. She agreed to give a hand in giving skills. What is her program? Like, is she going to start working with us in training, coming to schools? I want to know her program. Then, let me finish.
You are limited to one.
Only one question?
Yes.
But I'm
unless you are asking on behalf of the whole Nyarujenje.
Yeah. No.
Okay,
then,
go ahead, please.
Why can't you, as Edify, provide the computers to the schools, and maybe we pay you in installments? Why other organizations, yet we work with you?
Is that for Jennifer also?
No, for Mr.
Calist.
Not Calist.
Oh, yes.
Then to Mr. Innocent. Sorry. Who are those leading partners, like he mentioned? If he can give us the names and maybe we put them down.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let them answer this, and we move away from Nyarujenje. So, all Nyarujenje people, we are moving away. They can answer. Let me begin with Jenny.
So thank you, Brod. Thank you so much. I didn't get your names well, but I know I'll get Judith. Thank you so much, Judith. Yeah, so those are really good questions. Question number one, you're asking why only girls and not boys. So I just mentioned this. I said we are not ignoring boys because we know they are there. They also need the skills. But why we only do this to the girls, it's because girls, they seem to be not more confident and they are somehow left behind. So how did I come up with this idea? It's because I said I'm teaching at the university, information technology, and in a class of 90 students, we have big classes, in a class of 90 students, you will find that we only have 3 girls. And we can't say the problem is at the university level. The problem I just did my own research and I found that they start losing the confidence when they are in secondary schools. So in primary schools, maybe lower classes, but also upper classes and secondary schools, that's when they start losing interest, saying that we are not able. And the number now starts decreasing from down there. So that's why we said, why don't we have them at the same level. We don't want girls to be like more than boys. We just want it to be equal. It might take time, but at the end, I know it will be possible. So that's why we only train girls. Yes, thank you. And then giving skills, how? So for training, I partner with different organizations. I partner with Edify, with VVOB. I don't know if you know about the organizations, and many other different organizations. And we also go to schools and we ask schools, can we train your girls? I also do it to boys, but mostly I'm targeting girls. But at times, if I'm invited by a school or I just ask a school to give me that chance, I train them all. But I found that the biggest challenge is training those students in public schools. I've approached many, and there is a very long process to train them, and I'm doing it freely. So that's why most of the time I go to private schools. So that's what we do. And then in holidays, I organize trainings, and I train the girls, whether I use at times Zoom. So for people who have internet, so I will ask them to register. They will do registration, and then I teach them how to do websites, web design. I teach them the cyber security. And recently, I just concluded teaching 84 students on Zoom. I taught them what we call data analytics and machine learning. So we do that online for people who have internet, but I understand people who are up country, they also need the skills, so I will go there. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, for me, she asked about I said the lending partners. We have, there's Goshen, there is SCB, Amasezerano Community Bank. So for now, those are the lending partners that Edify is working with.
Yeah, the question was, why doesn't Edify provide computers and then your schools pay in installments? Yeah, that is really a good idea. But as Innocent has just mentioned, whatever involves finances, we partner with microfinance institutions. That's why I mentioned Goshen Microfinance and Amasezerano Community Bank. So those are I think a number of school leaders who are here know, starting from a PAD, they know they have really gotten a lot of money from Goshen. And then they go and buy the computers they want, and then they will be paying. I think Goshen allows you to pay on a quarterly basis after 3 months. Thank you.
Thank you. Almost coming to the end of our discussion. I'm now heading to Nyamata. Yes, any questions from Nyamata? Please stick to one question and direct it where you want it answered.
Thank you very much. My name is Emmanuel Gangarikari. I'm the director of Nyamata High School. Before I proceed to the question, I would like to extend my appreciations to Edify team and of course country director and the people there in the panel, because one of the training that I've benefited is this one, because others that I've been attending was just theory, but I've just got the practical part of especially when it comes to education technology integration. So I really thank you for organizing this training. So let me go straight to the question. My question is that we've talking about education technology. So when it comes to schools, technology refers to different things. But for me, I want just to focus on the use of computers among the students, computers and other things related to computers. So I want to get advice from Mr. Innocent and Madam Jennifer, how do students or pupils can manage that management of computers? Because I'm asking this because when it comes to when you give, there's someone who asked about just having possessing this, the devices for the students, whereby they can even take home, whereby they can even be revising for themselves. But it comes where
management.
Now, yes, students can be entering in other sources where it is not even helping them for education. So how empirically can manage these students when they are accessing to this, but effectively when it comes to when the students are revising for themselves.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We will answer your question. Let's go to Kayonza. Pick one question, please. Kayonza.
Thank you so much. I'm called Ambrose from Kayonza, Kabarondo. Before I continue, so I need to recognize your efforts put to develop.
Yeah, thank you, Ambrose. Please read your question. Thank you.
My question is just here. We have been informed that technology is all about passion. And indeed it is true. But we have people, we have teachers who lack that passion for technology. So what is your advice to us, or how can we really transform those people to become passionate to technology? Thank you.
How do you vaccinate passion to our teacher? That's a language I believe. Yes, any person from Nyagatare, Ngoma, East, we are East, okay. Let's come back to Rudindo, Musanze, Nyabihu, Gachenyi. Yes, there's a person from Gachenyi. Chivaza. Okay, no Gachenyi. Let's come to Kigali. Chichichiro. Any question from Chichichiro? That's where I stay, so maybe I can give them 2 questions, but let's stick to one. Okay, so let's go to Gasabo. Okay, Gasabo, Sun Academy.
Thank you so much. The idea of getting computers for our teachers is vital and it's really important. But I was thinking, if we get these computers, definitely on a loan, and we give them to these teachers, I think it's much better to leave the teacher to go with that laptop at home so that he does more research from home. So these days teachers leave the schools and they go. We all have given this teacher the laptop to go with it. What if he goes away with it? What will happen? And then another thing, leaving the laptops to be used at school only, it will not be enough since this teacher has other things to do. What can you advise us on that? Thank you.
You are directing that question to who? To all of them?
To Innocent.
Okay, Innocent. Okay, so I hope I am okay with the audience. So I hope there is no more question. We'll wind it in 1 or 2 minutes. So I'm going to give our panelists 1 minute for each question. If you have more than 1 question, then those are more than 1 minute, but accordingly. So we begin with Innocent. The question that I picked from my friend Rose. Please remember, we have lunch after here. I see you are looking at me, but I hope I have communicated. So don't just go. We will have some meals. And after that, we also have a group photo. So we'll have a group photo before the meals, closing prayer, and then we'll go for lunch. Yes, Innocent.
Okay, thank you so much. I will start with the question that was raised by Pastor Rose from Sun Academy. So the challenge, she talked about the challenge of buying computers on loan, giving them to teachers, but again, being worried whether if they take them, teachers, they transition from one school to another. Like anyone who does, you may be working somewhere and again you go to another place. So she's worried. All schools are worried if teachers take those computers. I think, to me, I can't say this is a way, like a solution or how to resolve it. But I think school leaders or school owners and the staff, there should be trust. These teachers, they don't have money to pay at once and buy computers. And yet, you as a school, you may be like giving them, the vendor, a guarantee that the teachers will be able to pay. So you'll be paying in installments, taking away, taking some money from their salaries and then pay for the computers. So to me, it's the school and the teachers building that trust that they are there. And I think, remember, we are Christian schools. So our teachers also need to have that character. So to me, that is part of the solution that I can say, that is being, which is the trust with teachers. Because teachers can't buy computers. And again, you say, keep them at school and go home. Yet, in the night, maybe is going to make some planning, do research of the next day.
Yeah.
Yet, imagine if the computer is left at school, how he or she is going to use it. So I think there should be trust that once teachers are bought these computers, they are trusted to use them the way you intend them to use them.
Thank you.
Okay. There's another one, I think, Emmanuel. Was it directed to me or someone else? I don't remember.
Yeah, if I don't know.
Yes. The question for Manuel, how do students manage these devices? Remember, we are encouraging schools and parents to buy computers to their students and their children. But again, how are we sure that they are going to manage them? They are going to use them for good purposes or use them the way we intend them to use. So it's the school and the parent to come up with measures. If it comes to maybe if it needs technical staff that like blocking some of the sites that you think are toxic, engage those people. There are people there, reach out to them, ask them to help you. How do we block such and such sites? If we think our kids can use them. Or make timetable of how they are going to access. This time you should be where you are able to control them, be able to do a follow-up. Yeah. I think that can't limit us from letting our kids have computers. Rather, it needs us to have in place measures of how, yes, they have them, but how are we going to control, to keep in control how they are going to use them. Come up with measures, be technical measures, be social measures, but at least have some measures. And here, it's not only the school, but also engage parents. Bring them together. Let them know of some of the uses that mean some of the sites that their kids can go on, which are toxic. So, and then you work together in terms of bringing up those measures that will, where you'll be sure that really kids or students are using the computers the way you intend them to use. Thank you.
Thank you, Innocent. Please, can you give him a hand of applause? Thank you for that. I move to Jenny. Just as you wind up, 1 or 2 minutes.
Thank you so much. So I would like to talk about that, what he started with, about what she raised. So it's like he read my mind already. When she talked about it, I just thought about trust. So when you're working with people, you need to trust them. You need to build trust between you. So that's number one. You need to have that trust. You need to trust them. Number two, as school owners, maybe you can give laptops to the teachers, and then you ask them to pay them in installments, and after finishing to pay the laptops in installments, then they can be their own devices. That's number two. And another thing I thought about is having that computer lab and also assigning some time slots for preparation of the next class in the lab. So if a teacher, I don't think a teacher teaches for all that the whole day. So having those time slots where teachers can go to the computer labs and then they use the desktops which are there. So that's another thing. So those are the things that I thought about. And then let me come to this question about how you can manage the children with the laptops, with the devices. So first thing, you need to educate people. You need to educate people. You need to educate parents. You need to educate children. Tell them the good side of computers and also tell them the bad side of computers. Yes, they are good. They help us in doing many things, in preparing our courses for the students to learn many things. But you also need to tell them there is cyberbullying. And I think that's the biggest challenge that even governments are facing. It's about the cyberbullying. The small kids are being bullied on internet, maybe with parents knowing or even not knowing about that. And we also have, you tell them about the cyber attacks, like they need to have protected having passwords on their devices and all those things. So another thing is about students needed to be guided by teachers when they are at school. So they'll be guiding them so they will know that these students are not going to access sites that they should not access. Another thing Innocent talked about is by blocking some sites. You know, with technology now, you keep advancing. You know, okay, they can access all websites, but if you block some websites, we know that even at work, some companies, they decide to block some sites. With the company devices, you cannot access Facebook or those websites that are not for work purposes. So you need to block some websites. And students will be guided by teachers at school, and they should be guided by parents at home, because this education, it's not just one person to implement it. It's parents, it's students, and it's teachers. And another thing is that let your children know, or your students, be responsible. So maybe you won't guide them all the time. They won't have a teacher or the parent to guide them. But you need to teach them how to be responsible. Just like when they're at school, they know this is my thing and I have to take care of it. So teach them to be responsible and make them accountable for whatever they do. So those are the things I wanted to talk about.
Thank you, Jennifer. We are going to the country director to give his take, and then the final remarks. We are coming to the close of our discussion. I hope you've learned something. But before he does that, immediately after this, we will run a group photo. So Jackie and MC Yvonne are going to guide that. And then after that, we will go and fellowship. Welcome, country director.
Thank you, Broad, and the rest of the colleagues here. In fact, there are so many things, there are so many questions that each one of you would ask, but this is one of the conferences. Maybe next year at the same time we may meet again, and if you, maybe you will have done something. And then we'll be discussing some of the challenges that you are meeting on the way. I want to say that there is no way, we cannot avoid using technology in our schools. It's not possible at all. Maybe you would have done it in the past, but not today. I want to thank my colleagues here. They have responded to your questions. But as school leaders, in fact, it becomes very difficult for implementing technology in your school if you don't give it priority. You need to think about how you are going to plan that. Maybe you have a computer lab, but your teachers don't have computers. But you also move another step and think about the children. Because if you want to, for example, to teach online, whom are you teaching? Do they have the devices? So begin from your school, begin from the leadership, think about teachers, not only teachers of technology, because you have different teachers who are teaching different subjects, and then move down to parents, children, because parents are the ones who are going to fund you. They are your donors. So think about those donors. Think about, the meetings to sensitize them to understand the need for technology. Then think about how they are going to support their children to also be connected and have devices. So I want to thank you all for attending this conference. I want to say that continue integrating technology in your schools. Think about smart classrooms. Think about using projectors when you're teaching. Maybe you need to use videos, selected videos. You cannot do it without, integrating technology. Think about diversifying the way you are teaching. Some of us were taught in only one way, just using maybe a chalk and board. But now you can use different approaches. You can use different resources. And technology is there to provide those resources. So I thank you so much. God bless you as you implement technology in your schools.
Thank you, Calist. Please, again, appreciate with a hand clap Innocent, Jennifer, and Calist. And the audience, you've been good people, been patient, we've learned many things. We are going into the group photo, but before we do that, I will request one of us to pray before we... Who wants to give us a closing prayer? Maybe nabivuze mu cyongereza ushaka kudusengera dusoza. Yes, sir.
God bless you. Ndasenga mu kinyarwanda. Mwahaguruka tukubaha Imana. Mbere na mbere nshimiye cyane Edify. It has been blessing us for a longer time. Niyo mpamvu tugomba kubashimira. Mwakoze cyane kuduhesha umugisha kugira ngo natwe duheshe amashuri yacu umugisha. Ngira ngo buri muntu wese tutarasenga twabakomera mu mashyi. Dusenge. Uwiteka Nyiringabo Imana yacu, Mana ikora imirimo n'ibikomeye, turagushimiye turaguhimbaje, icyubahiro n'ikuzo n'ibyawe. Mana turagushimiye kubw'uyu mwanya tumaze hano twiga ubwiru bwa tekinoloji kugira ngo natwe duheshe umugisha bari abanyeshuri kugira ngo nabo mwami bazakomerere muri iki gihe cya tekinoloji. Mana turagushimiye kubwa Edify, bahereza umugisha kandi ubongere resources kugira ngo bakomeze gukora umurimo wagutse mu gihugu cyacu ndetse n'ibihugu duhana imbibi. Mwami urakoze kubakoresha imirimo, bahereza umugisha mu byo bakora, bagurira imbago. Ubuyobozi bw'igihugu cyacu buhereza umugisha kuko buteza imbere itumanaho. Mana turahangaha rero muri aka mwanya turarangije, ariko tuzongera gusubira no dushoboresha. Turahesha umugisha Edify, turahesha umugisha abayobozi b'ibigo, turahesha umugisha ba nyiri ibigo, turahesha umugisha igihugu cyacu n'ubuyobozi. Uwiteka Mana ihoraho, ni wowe utanga umugisha, bahereza umugisha kandi ni wowe utanga bidutera imbaraga zo kugukorera kandi Mwami urusheho Uwiteka Nyiringabo guhereza umugisha imirimo ikorerwa muri ibi bigo. Turagushimiye turaguhimbaje, icyubahiro n'ikuzo n'ibyawe none iteka ryose. Amen. My name is Pastor George Karach. May God bless you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Pastor. We are going to follow Jackie for a group photo. Jackie is staff member, so please do whatever she tells you and the cameraman will do the rest. Thank you.
So please, mwaba mwihanganye gato muretse gusohoka. The panel, please kindly first leave that. Yes. Can wait for a few minutes. Yes, we want these chairs down. These ones should be moved down.
As we're waiting for the group photo, please leave your badge at the entrance, or you can leave it on your desk. Just make sure you leave these badges. Thank you so much.
Okay, let me have this table take up these seats. Please feel free. Let's take the seats, and then abandi basigaye turaza inyuma yabo duhagarare kuri kano gatuti. Bare tugerageze turebe ko twese tuza kugaragara. Stand there really. Abarebare. Okay. Abakurikiye pano ababishoboye bafite imbaraga. Let me first go in front and cameraman. No. Bano gutya, let's go the other side. Are we seeing? Abari inyuma cyane batari bugaragare. I'm seeing my brother Emmanuel. Muramubona cyangwa wapi? Hari mama. Is that Miriam? Ko wihishe. I don't think we can see you. Come. Is she now clear? Dukureho mask ikiza twese badupimye ntabwo turwaye. For purposes of this picture, please let's smile for the camera. Yeah, we need to smile and we hope our picture will go nicely. Is that okay? Cameraman mbwira ko bimeze neza.